The lost coin approach be to see reality. Now today we're focused on the reality of yourself, your personality, your ego, your being. But also we talk about seeing reality in life. For example, there are theories that we all work with, such as a very simple one I mention often, which is that if you get married, that's a good thing. But observation does not show that. Now, I don't mean to knock marriage, because under certain circumstances and the right way, marriage can be a great thing, but then you've got to know that. You don't just say, you don't just produce a bunch of 21-year-olds who all want to get married thinking it's going to be good. It's much more helpful to know that it can be good under certain circumstances, and then you have some knowledge to work with to make it good. Yeah? Same thing with very common understandings like when you get a certain position in life, things will be good. Not so. So also important to study reality. But today we're just going to talk about studying the self, seeing boldly what we are really like. But I guess what I'm also trying to get you all to do is to really doubt. Just doubt all these things that you've taken for granted, that people tell you that are so obviously true. I just finished another book, and I always like reading about that. It was a biography, it was written by somebody who knew them, about the rock band, the Rolling Stones. Now, I find them fascinating on a number of levels. Interesting as people, I like their music, but they succeeded extraordinarily in every way. As musicians, as part of a lineage, as financially, they're very good, and they've done a lot of things really right. They've also managed to live through a lot of stuff that would have killed others. But reading it, what was really fascinating is you can see why they would succeed. And it's not for the reasons that one might think, but the other thing that one might think is, boy, especially if you're maybe younger, if I could be them, the most famous rock and roll band in the world, maybe the most famous rock and roll band of all times, and have, we'll take it from the male perspective, all that money, all those women, all those houses, all that freedom, all of that, I would be a very happy. It's not true. I wouldn't say they're less happy than, say, the average happiness in this group, but I wouldn't say they're more happy. I would say, interestingly enough, so this for me is evidence that the happiest one in them is Keith Richards. Although he looks like he's having the closest to the grave, but one of the things that makes him much happier than some of them, or not, some of them are happy in other ways, is that he really likes what he does. When he's not playing rock and roll on the stage, he'll go off and play with other musicians, and he'll play at home. And he likes the history of rock and roll, and blues particularly, and he has a great library about that. That's really who he is. So when I read a book like that, I notice that. Right? I'm looking for evidence. What I ask you to do. Mick Jagger, on the other hand, who's a fabulously interesting guy, but is so ambitious that he's not satisfied really with being the lead frontman for the greatest rock and roll band. He wants to be an actor too. He wants to. He's got other aspirations. He's a very talented. So, what I'm asking you to do is study life. Don't assume. All the media, everybody, even good books, want us to assume certain things about life, which we'd be better off being scientific about and doubting. Doubting until you have evidence. Some people believe this is a wonderful world and all the people in it are just wonderful. That's not true. Some people believe that there's a horrible world and all the people in it are just horrible. That's not true either. So, some people believe that certain things are so important. The Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, which was so important and so idealistic at the time, we don't see that from here because we get the Western promo about that. But it was a very idealistic thing. It was a revolt against the very rich, and everybody else had nothing. But they killed 10 million people. If you ask somebody in the 50s in the KGB, they'd still say it was good, it was the right way to go. Religions have killed millions of people, maybe more than even governments. So I would say you don't assume things. Look at reality. You know, as Dave Daniels would have said, he always loved our sexual assumptions. So you assume, again, excuse me, I'll take it from the male point of view, you assume that you really want to go to bed with a woman who is a certain type, you know, she's 6 foot tall, long-legged, blonde, and looks like whatever, Paris Hilton. I think Paris Hilton is cool, but you know, I think she should be president. But and then what happens? And this Dave used to point out. Then you go out, you know, you go to bed with a woman like that, and you know, you can't perform. You don't. It should tell you something. And then you see your eyes wandering, and you see that you find yourself constantly looking at 4 foot tall, dark-haired women who are over 200 pounds. You say, that can't be. But it can be. See, because it's a good illustration. What is. So our aim in developing is to deal with what is, not what has to be, not with ideas, not with... And today we're going to focus, after I just finish this, on who we are, what you see, what's really the truth, what's really real. Don't be scared of that. Knowing what's really real there can really help you. And it's the only real way to develop. If you develop from the basis of falsehood, everything that follows after that is false as well.